You see, I've been training calisthenics for over 5 years now, and I can tell you that once you master this incredible abs exercise, you will not need anything else. Today, I'm gonna show you a step-by-step guide on how to master the dragon flag so you can build an incredible set of bulletproof abs today. I'm gonna show you guys the proper technique to execute this core exercise. I'll give you guys a list of all of the progressions you need in order to ramp up to the penultimate move, and I'll show you guys some training methods that I personally use to help you level up your core workouts and unlock the dragon flag. Now, it doesn't matter if you're a complete beginner or an advanced athlete, there's going to be something for you to learn in this video, so stick around and watch to the end. But first off, why should you learn the dragon flag? Well, if you've seen those compilations of people doing calisthenics tricks in public and you're equally as impressed as I was, maybe you admire their strength, maybe you admire their skill, and if you want to become just like them, you can with the dragon flag. See, out of all the static skills in calisthenics, the dragon flag is, in my opinion, among the easier ones to learn. Despite that, it also looks super impressive. So if you wanted to learn an impressive skill that doesn't take too long to learn, then the dragon flag is perfect and you can impress all your friends with it. Plus, you can do it almost anywhere. You could do it on a pole. You can do it on a bed. You can do it outside. You could do it inside. You can do it in a car. You could do it in a bar. You could do it on a train or even in a plane. You can even do it in freaking Hogwarts if you wanted to. You can even do it on a person.
Sorry. I fail.
Another great reason to learn the dragon flag is how it trains your abs. See, there are 3 main ways that your abs can move. Flexion, which is bending forward, rotation, which is torso rotation, and anti-flexion, which is resisting bending. And that's what the dragon flag falls under. And the reason this is so powerful is 1, it trains your entire core, and 2, it also trains the muscle underneath your abs, which is the transverse abdominis. And training this muscle allows it to tighten up and shrink and actually makes your waist appear smaller, giving you a much more aesthetic physique. And the dragon flag is the best exercise for this because you're resisting basically your entire lower body, allowing you to resist an incredible amount of load, and this really helps to work your abs completely. But of course, this compound exercise does not just train your abs. In fact, your entire body is pretty much recruited in this exercise. It's going to work your lats, a little bit of your triceps, but it's also going to work your quads and as well as your glutes. Let me explain. When you do the dragon flag, it requires your entire core and your whole body to be thoroughly engaged. And this is so that when you're doing the skill, it keeps your entire body rigid. This full body engagement is a great gateway to learn other impressive skills, such as the front lever, which uses similar muscle groups. So if you want to learn harder skills while bulletproofing your abs and building a more aesthetic body, let's jump right into the technique. So starting from the top down, we're gonna look at what your scapula should be doing in this movement. Like most strength skills, your scapulas should be retracted as well as depressed, meaning pulled back and pulled down. Your lats also need to be fully engaged in order to also fully engage your core. You want to be able to keep a hollow body and make sure not to arch your back. And to do this, you need proper core engagement. You also want to keep your glutes and quads flexed in order to have a completely straight dragon flag. The goal should be to be completely rigid from your shoulders all the way down to your feet. One of the most common mistakes that people do when they start training the dragon flag is having a banana back, where their legs are kind of bent upwards, and this is a sign that you're probably not strong enough for your current progression. Another sign of not being strong enough is only holding a progression for less than 5 seconds or letting the bottom half of your movement just drop to the floor. But the biggest mistake that you could possibly make is jumping right into the exercise without meeting the prerequisites. If you can do about 10 to 20 leg raises and about 8 to 10 pull-ups, and also hold a hollow body hold for about 30 seconds, you should be strong enough to move on to the first progression. Now, all of these progressions, no matter which one you pick, all follow the same principle. Imagine you have a golf club in your hand and you're holding it closest to the head of the golf club. It's a lot easier to move and easier to handle because the point of contact is a lot closer to where the heaviest point is. However, if you were to move your hand all the way to the end of the golf club, the heaviest point is further away from the point of support, which results in more force being applied to your hand. The concept is the exact same with the dragon flag. When our legs are fully extended, you're going to be experiencing more force on your lats and on your core, versus if your legs are completely tucked, you're going to be experiencing less force and it's going to be a lot easier for you to do. Which brings us to the first progression, fully tucked dragon flag. Now, this is the perfect opportunity to practice your scapular engagement and also your lat engagement. Once we start developing that lat strength and our scapular engagement, we'll move on to the next progression, which is slowly extending our legs forward into the advanced tuck. Now, this is going to require a lot more core engagement, and similar to the other progressions, you're going to experience more and more tension on your lats. Now, when we're ready to tackle the rest of the lower body engagement, that's the quads, that's the glutes, we're going to be extending one leg while keeping the other one bent. After that progression, we're going to move on to the straddle, and of course after the straddle, you'll have unlocked the full dragon flag. So now that we've covered all of the progressions, let's jump into the 5 main training methods that you can do to level up the dragon flag, as well as my training rule of thumb that has helped me to achieve the dragon flag as quick as possible. First off, we have to understand one thing. Your muscles are a lot stronger when they're lengthening versus when they're contracting. But this also means that it's perfect for learning a progression that we might not be strong enough yet. And this is why training the dragon flag as an eccentric movement works so perfectly. You want to start by bringing your hips up into kind of like a tucked position, and then extend your legs to whatever progression you're working on. Once you're all the way up, slowly lower yourself down until you reach the floor. Now, the slower you get over time, the more you're going to be able to actually hold the middle position, and that brings us to the next training method, isometrics. This is a great way to keep your abs under tension the entire time. And since this is a more static way of training, it's also perfect for learning things such as the front lever. If you want an extra challenge for yourself, try doing the isometric as close to horizontal as possible to get maximum force on your entire core and also your lats. If you're looking to vary the core engagement as well as bring your lats through full range of motion, then doing dragon flag reps is your way to go. Taking your dragon flag from all the way down to all the way up, keeping your entire body rigid and your core super engaged. There's also an underrated training method that allows you to ramp up the core engagement rapidly, unlike traditional reps, and that's going to be dragon flag extensions. And this is going from an easy progression to a much harder progression for just a brief moment. Now, I like to start with tucked and go all the way to the full dragon flag, but you can pick any 2 progressions you want and use that for your extensions. The next method helps with increasing your hold time for the dragon flag if you're working on statics, and it's something I mentioned in a lot of my videos, and that's the body weight drop set. Now, it's the opposite of extensions because you're going from a harder progression to a much easier progression when you're unable to hold that progression for much longer. And this is going to help create time under tension and help with your hold duration. The general rule of thumb when you're training for the dragon flag is to use eccentrics until you're strong enough to hold the progression. But if you find that your core is holding you back, try doing extensions. Of course, you should also throw in some full range of motion dragon flags in order to strengthen your lats, and this is going to really help with lat engagement if that's where you're struggling. And once you can hold a progression for more than 10 seconds, you're ready to start training for the next one. But before you go training the dragon flag, you need to make sure of one important thing. See, everything I just told you is basically useless if you haven't mastered the basics. So if you want to learn how to master the calisthenics basics and build that foundational strength, you can check out this video right here.